Yo, what's good? Welcome back to Groove Selective. Today I'm going to show you how to make the TikTok hit I Wanna Go by Ellie Oaks and Lavinia. The aim of Groove Selective is to teach you how to produce all types of dance music. However, if you would like to support me or you want to level up your production game quicker, you can find a link to all my sample packs, mixing, mastering, and VIP coaching services in the link below. Okay, let's jump straight in. The first thing we're going to start off is actually the notes of the bass line. Now, I'm going to hit play on the first part of the drop. We're going to start off on the B, and then we're going to move down to D sharp, and then we're going to move to F sharp, and then we're going to move to the A sharp. And each of these notes are going to be playing on the offbeat. The presets that I'm using are from my pack. So I've got the big deep bass. I'm also just using the basic sub. Now, I did make some small changes to the first envelope, which you'll be able to copy on my screen if you have the pack. So the attack is set to 4.1 milliseconds, decay time is 734 milliseconds, and the sustain is at minus 10 dB with the release time at 239 milliseconds. And then the last addition is the techno stab, which I've drawn in based on where I felt like I heard it in the track, and this is just playing B. So I need the kick landing on the 1, 2, 3, and 4, the clap's going to be on the 2 and 4, and the hi-hat is on the offbeat. So I'm going to use kick 11. Then I'm going to bring it into my quick sampler. Delete the original audio, right click on my timeline, create a pattern region, and then make sure the kicks are landing on the 1, 2, 3, and 4. So beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4. Next, I need to find a clap. I'm going to use clap 5. And again, drag it into my quick sampler, create a pattern region. We're going to make sure it's landing on beat 2 and beat 4. And then we're going to layer in a open hi-hat. I'm going to use hi-hat 17. And again, just drag it into the quick sampler, and this is going to be landing on the offbeat. And we're just going to arrange it like the original track. And then what I'm going to do is actually layer a top loop on top of this. So I'm going to go into the pack, going to go into top loops. I'm going to use my quick hats top loop at 140 BPM, but we know the project's at 154. So I need to time stretch this by holding Option and pulling the right side to the left until it aligns with my grids. I'm just going to use this for the second half of the drop. So at the moment I have this bass line and we're just moving between octaves here. So if I solo this out. So I'm going from B3 up to B4, and then it moves down to G sharp 3, and then up to G sharp 4, and then we're going to D sharp 3, moving up to D sharp 4, and that just repeats. In terms of the attack and release and decay settings on envelope 1, you'll find the attack to be 121 milliseconds. The decay time is going to be 915 milliseconds. The sustain time is going to be minus 3 dB. And the release time is 1.52 seconds. In context of the build up, it should sound a little bit like this. Now you'll hear another couple of sounds in here. One of them is from the pack, one of them I designed whilst I was remaking the track. The first sound I'm going to show you is the lead sound that you hear, and it's called lead techie. If you want to download the packs, you can. You'll have full access to all of my sounds. So let's look at the MIDI. This top line melody starts off on the F sharp, and then it moves up to A sharp, and it moves down to F. And then you also have this whistle lead. So for oscillator B, I just use the sine wave, and then envelope 1, I've set the attack time to 30 milliseconds, decay time to 843 milliseconds, and then the sustain is at 0 decibels, and the release time is at 83 milliseconds. I use the noise, and this is kind of creating that whistle effect called shush 2. I turned up the pitch to 59%, turn up the unison, it just adds a little bit more width. Turn down the detune to 0.04, and then we go to effects. I've added some distortion here. I've just kept it on the standard preset of tube, but I've lowered it down to 51%. I've added some reverb, so I'm using a plate here. I've turned down the size, and I've turned down the mix to about 35%. And then I've got a compressor, which is just reducing the mid-range. And then I've got a chorus just to bring everything together with the mix turned up to 60%. Now, the next thing we need to add to this build-up is the clap. So I'm just going to duplicate this over. However, I am going to put it on a different channel, and that's because I want to add some reverb to it, just to give it a little bit more atmosphere and space. Turn the mix down. Let's go for around 20% and see how that feels. I'm going to turn it down in the mix a little bit. Go into the groove selective pack. I'm going to go into our effects, and I'm going to use a downlifter and a reverse cymbal for some of these transitions. And then I'm going to use riser 4. Just going to make sure all of these are in time. It's a fairly simple track. It's very straightforward. A lot of what's happening in that track is the vocal chops. That's what really draws you in. Thanks so much for tuning in today, and hopefully I'll see you next time. If you did enjoy the video today, please do drop a like and a comment below, and let me know what you want to see in the next upcoming video.